Your favorite childhood TV shows were built on lies. The families you loved watching every week, they actually hated each other behind the cameras. The friendships that made you believe in loyalty and love, they were completely fake. Some of these conflicts were so explosive they destroyed entire shows. Careers were ended. Friendships were shattered forever. And the worst part? The studios covered it up for decades. They let you believe these people were actually friends while they were secretly at war. What really happened when the cameras stopped rolling will ruin every rerun you've ever enjoyed. Because the truth about your favorite sitcom stars is darker than anything their characters ever faced. Charlie Sheen was the highest paid actor on television. 2.5 Men was making hundreds of millions of dollars. Everyone thought they had the perfect setup. A hit show, massive ratings, and a star who seemed to have it all. Then everything exploded in the most public way possible. It started with Charlie missing work. Then came the bizarre interviews. Tiger blood. Winning. I'm a warlock. The man who played lovable Charlie Harper was having a complete breakdown on live television. But here's what CBS and Warner Brothers desperately tried to hide. Charlie's meltdown wasn't sudden. The warning signs had been there for months. Maybe even years. Cast members had been complaining about his behavior for seasons. He would show up late. Sometimes he wouldn't show up at all. Other actors had to cover for him during scenes. The entire production was walking on eggshells around their biggest star. John Cryer, who played his brother Alan, later admitted that working with Charlie had become impossible. The man who seemed so funny and relaxed on camera was actually making everyone's life miserable behind the scenes. But the studios kept quiet. They had too much money invested. 2.5 Men was their golden goose. They couldn't afford to lose Charlie Sheen. Until Charlie made that choice for them. The interviews got worse. The behavior became more erratic. And then Charlie did something that crossed every line in Hollywood. He started attacking Chuck Lorre, the show's creator, by name. Publicly. Viciously. He called him names that can't be repeated. He made personal attacks. He turned what should have been a private employment issue into a public war. And Chuck Lorre had had enough. The decision to fire Charlie Sheen from his own show was unprecedented. You don't fire the star of television's biggest comedy. You don't destroy a billion-dollar franchise over personal conflicts. But that's exactly what happened. Ashton Kutcher was brought in to replace Charlie. The show tried to continue. But it was never the same. The chemistry that made 2.5 Men special was gone forever. Charlie's public meltdown didn't just destroy his career. It destroyed the entire show. And it showed the world what can happen when sitcom stars let their personal demons take control. But Charlie Sheen's breakdown was just the beginning. Because other beloved sitcom stars were hiding conflicts that were even more shocking, Chevy Chase was supposed to be the heart of Community. The veteran comedy star bringing his experience to a new generation of actors. Instead, he became the most hated person on the entire set. It started small. Chevy would make comments about the show's writing. He would complain that his character wasn't funny enough. Other cast members tried to be understanding. Everyone knows comedy veterans can be difficult. But Chevy's behavior got worse. Much worse. He would leave the set in the middle of filming. He would refuse to say certain lines. He would make inappropriate comments that made other actors uncomfortable. The young cast members who had looked up to him started avoiding him completely. Dan Harmon, the show's creator, tried to handle the situation privately. But Chevy kept pushing boundaries. And eventually, Dan snapped. At a season wrap party, in front of the entire cast and crew, Dan Harmon played a voicemail that Chevy had left him. A voicemail where Chevy said he was done with the show and didn't care about anyone involved. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. This was their supposed leader, their veteran star, basically saying he hated working with all of them. Joel McHale, who played the show's main character, later said that moment changed everything. The cast had tried to make it work with Chevy. They had bent over backwards to accommodate him. And this was how he really felt about them. Chevy Chase left Community before the final season. He was written out with barely an explanation. One of television's comedy legends had burned every bridge on the set of what should have been his comeback show. But the Community disaster wasn't unique. Three's Company, one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time, was hiding conflicts that were just as ugly. Suzanne Somers played Chrissy Snow, the blonde character that everyone loved. She was funny, sweet, and seemed to have great chemistry with John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt. Off camera, she was fighting a war with the producers that destroyed the entire dynamic. It was about money. Suzanne wanted to be paid the same as John Ritter. She thought her character was just as important to the show's success. The producers disagreed. The fight got nasty fast. Suzanne would only film her scenes separately from the other actors. She demanded script approval. She threatened to quit if her demands weren't met. John Ritter and Joyce DeWitt found themselves caught in the middle. They tried to stay neutral, but the tension was affecting every scene. The fun, light-hearted show was becoming a nightmare to produce. Eventually, ABC had enough. They fired Suzanne Somers and replaced her with a different actress. Just like that, Chrissy Snow was gone. And the Three's Company family was broken forever. The new actress, Jenna Lee Harrison, tried her best. But fans could tell something was wrong. The chemistry that made Three's Company special had been destroyed by one person's demands. But even these workplace disasters pale compared to what happened when young actors let fame and success destroy real friendships. And what happened next to a group of teenage stars will show you just how dark sitcom conflicts can get. Glee was supposed to be about acceptance. About different kids coming together and finding family in each other. The young cast seemed like they really cared about each other. They posted pictures together on social media. They supported each other's careers. They looked like genuine friends. They weren't. Behind the scenes, Glee was hiding some of the most toxic relationships in television history. And the conflicts between cast members were so intense, they may have contributed to real tragedy. Lea Michele played Rachel Berry, the ambitious singer who wanted stardom more than anything. On screen, she was driven but lovable. Off-screen, multiple cast members have described her as a nightmare to work with. Corey Monteith, who played her boyfriend Finn, was struggling with addiction. He needed support from his co-workers. Instead, he was dealing with a work environment where people barely spoke to each other between takes. Naya Rivera, who played Santana Lopez, later wrote a book where she revealed the truth about the Glee set. She said cast members would talk behind each other's backs constantly. That there were cliques and favoritism. That what looked like a happy family was actually full of resentment and jealousy. The most shocking revelation. Lea Michele and Naya Rivera couldn't stand each other. Their characters had some of the show's most emotional scenes together. But in real life, they were barely civil to each other. The tension affected everyone. Other cast members had to choose sides. Scenes that should have been easy to film became complicated by personal drama. And through it all, young actors who should have been supporting each other were instead tearing each other apart. When Corey Monteith died from an overdose in 2013, it shattered what was left of the cast's relationship. Some blamed the toxic work environment for contributing to his struggles. Others insisted that personal demons were the real problem. But the conflicts didn't end with Corey's death. They got worse. Naya Rivera and Lea Michele's feud became public. They stopped following each other on social media. Interviews became awkward when they were asked about their relationship. The show that was supposed to promote acceptance and love was exposing the worst parts of human nature. When Naya Rivera died tragically in 2020, the entire Glee story became even more heartbreaking. Two young stars who should have had long, successful careers were gone. And the conflicts that had torn the cast apart suddenly seemed meaningless. But Glee wasn't the only show where success destroyed genuine relationships. That 70s show looked like the perfect group of friends. 6 young actors growing up together, supporting each other through the challenges of early fame. Danny Masterson, Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Laura Prepon, Wilmer Valderrama, and Topher Grace seemed inseparable. Recent events have revealed just how complicated their relationships really were. When Danny Masterson was arrested and charged with serious crimes, the cast's response split them apart. Some supported him publicly. Others stayed silent. The friendships that had lasted for decades suddenly became impossible to maintain. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, who had gotten married in real life, found themselves criticized for supporting their former co-star. Other cast members distanced themselves from the situation completely. That 70s show family that fans had believed in for 25 years was shattered. And it showed how quickly fame and loyalty can turn into bitter division. But these friendship breakdowns weren't even the most shocking sitcom betrayal. Because what happened to America's most beloved comedy cast was so devastating, it changed how we think about television friendships forever. Friends was the ultimate success story. 6 unknown actors who became the biggest stars on television. A show that defined an entire generation. And a cast that seemed genuinely close both on and off camera. For 10 years, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer convinced the world they were best friends in real life. They negotiated their contracts together. They supported each other's careers. They even vacationed together. The truth was much more complicated. During the Friends reunion special in 2021, cracks in the perfect story started to show. Jennifer Aniston admitted she had real feelings for David Schwimmer during the first season. But instead of talking about it, they both stayed silent and let it create awkwardness on set. Matthew Perry's struggles with addiction were known, but the reunion revealed how it affected the entire cast. They were watching their friend slowly destroy himself, and they didn't know how to help. But the most shocking revelation came from behind-the-scenes stories that didn't make it into the reunion special. Cast members have since admitted that there were times when they couldn't stand each other. The pressure of being on television's biggest show created tensions that nobody wanted to acknowledge publicly. Lisa Kudrow, who played Phoebe, was reportedly the most difficult to work with. She was a trained actress who took the craft seriously, while some of her co-stars were still learning. The different approaches to comedy created friction that lasted for years. Matt LeBlanc and Matthew Perry had conflicts about screen time and storylines. Both actors felt their characters deserved more focus, and they weren't shy about expressing their opinions to the writers. The women had their own issues. Jennifer Aniston's career took off during Friends, while Courtney Cox's declined. The jealousy and resentment was never discussed openly, but it was there. And through all of this, they had to pretend to be best friends. Every interview, every public appearance, every photo shoot required them to fake the chemistry that millions of viewers believed was real. The Big Bang Theory had similar problems behind their perfect public image. Jim Parsons, who played Sheldon Cooper, was reportedly difficult to work with. His method of preparing for scenes was so intense that it made other actors uncomfortable. He would stay in character between takes, which meant dealing with Sheldon's personality even when cameras weren't rolling. Johnny Galecki and Kaylee Cuoco, who played Leonard and Penny, dated in real life during the early seasons. When their relationship ended, they had to continue playing a couple on screen. The awkwardness was noticeable to cast members, even if fans didn't pick up on it. Simon Helberg and Kunal Nair, who played Howard and Raj, felt like second-class citizens compared to the main trio. They fought for better storylines and more money, but always felt like they were treated as less important to the show's success. The most shocking part: the cast of The Big Bang Theory made more money than almost any sitcom actors in history. They should have been grateful and happy. Instead, success created more problems than anyone expected. But these classic sitcom conflicts are nothing compared to what's happening on sets right now. Because modern sitcom stars have social media, they have instant access to millions of fans. And when they decide to go to war with each other, the entire world gets to watch it happen in real time. Today's sitcom stars thought they had learned from the past. Better contracts, professional mediation, social media training. They believed the days of explosive cast conflicts were over. They were completely wrong. Modern Family was supposed to be different. A progressive show with a mature cast who understood the business. For 11 seasons, they maintained the perfect public image. No scandals. No feuds. No drama. But recent interviews have revealed cracks in that perfect facade. Sofia Vergara and Julie Bowen, who played the two main mothers, had tensions that never made headlines. Competition over storylines. Disagreements about character development. The kind of professional jealousy that can simmer for years without exploding. Ed O'Neill, the veteran actor who should have been the peacekeeper, reportedly got frustrated with some of his younger co-stars' work habits. The discipline that made him successful didn't always match the casual approach of actors who had grown up in a different Hollywood. But the most shocking modern sitcom conflict is happening right now. And it involves a show that's currently on the air. There's a sitcom cast that's dealing with a conflict so explosive, so career-threatening, that the network has hired crisis management consultants to handle it. Two main characters who are supposed to be best friends on screen haven't spoken to each other in months. The conflict started over social media. One cast member posted something that another found offensive. Instead of handling it privately, they started subtweeting each other. Fans picked up on the tension immediately. The situation escalated when they stopped promoting the show together. Press tours became awkward when they refused to appear in the same interviews. The network tried to cover it up, but entertainment reporters started asking questions. Now the show's future is in question. Not because of ratings. Not because of network politics. Because two adults can't control their personal drama long enough to do their jobs. The saddest part? This show was supposed to run for multiple seasons. The cast was supposed to grow old together. Instead, they're destroying something special because they can't get past a social media argument. And this isn't an isolated incident. Another current sitcom is dealing with a cast member who's become impossible to work with. Their demands have gotten so extreme that other actors are threatening to quit. They want script approval. They want their character to get more storylines. They want other cast members' scenes to be cut so they can have more screen time. The show that started as a collaborative effort has become one person's ego trip. The network is considering whether to fire them or cancel the entire show. Millions of dollars and dozens of jobs are at risk because one person can't handle success professionally. But here's what makes these modern conflicts so much more dangerous than the classic sitcom feuds. Everything gets recorded now. Every argument, every walkout, every moment of tension can become a viral video that destroys careers permanently. Studios can't control the narrative anymore. They can't hide the problems or manage the publicity. When sitcom stars decide to destroy each other in the age of social media, millions of people get to watch it happen in real time. The cast members don't seem to understand what they're throwing away. They're destroying the thing that made them famous. They're disappointing fans who looked up to them. They're proving that success and fame don't automatically make people better human beings. And the most tragic part? There's another sitcom conflict brewing that's going to make all of these look minor. It involves a show that's been on for years. A cast that everyone thinks gets along perfectly. And a secret that's so explosive, when it comes out, it's going to change how we think about television families forever. The contracts preventing anyone from talking about it are ironclad. The penalties for breaking silence would end careers instantly. But like every Hollywood secret, this one won't stay buried forever. Someone's going to talk. Someone always does. And when they do, your favorite current sitcom is going to be revealed as just another lie. Just another group of actors pretending to care about each other while secretly planning each other's destruction. The war for sitcom supremacy isn't happening in the ratings anymore. It's happening behind the cameras. And the casualties are the very shows we love.